Did you know that in surveys taken from 1997 until this year, 2019, there has been nearly a 50-50 split every year between those who consider themselves pro-life versus pro-choice? This is one issue us Americans just cannot seem to come to a consensus on. But by the time you hear these various arguments I present here, hopefully you will have an idea where you stand. Hi, my name is Tori Franklin, and today I will expose you to both Patrick Lee and Robert George's pro-life arguments, as well as Mary Ann Warren's pro-choice arguments. Lee and George will combat Warren's personhood argument with their incapacity scenario, backed up by the potential capacity argument. Strengths and weaknesses for these arguments will be given. Contrastingly, Warren advocates pro-choice with her alien society scenario, and then the strengths of her personhood argument will be given, as well as those weaknesses. First, Patrick Lee and Robert George present a pro-life argument with their incapacity scenario. This scenario objects Mary Ann Warren's pro-choice personhood argument, which states, if X is an innocent person, then it is wrong to kill X. If a person is one that is self-aware, can reason and think abstractly, and can communicate through any form of language. A conceptus, embryo, and/or a fetus are incapable of these advanced cognitive functions. Therefore, it is morally permissible to have an abortion at any stage of pregnancy. Now, Lee and George's incapacity scenario challenges this idea that embryos and fetuses should be excluded from personhood. They ask you to imagine a grown human in a deep sleep or coma from which they are unable to wake. This person does not possess the immediate ability to reason, communicate, or think abstractly. Much like a fetus inside a womb, this person in the coma's eyes are closed, and aside from their heartbeat and breathing, they do not move or respond to any physical stimuli. According to Mary Ann Warren's argument, it would be permissible to kill such a person because they do not qualify for personhood. They don't have the immediate capacity for higher functioning. However, most people would argue that that is completely wrong. Lee and George stress the importance of changing the requirement for personhood from immediate capacity to potential capacity for higher functioning. Their potential capacity argument goes as follows. If X is an innocent person, it is wrong to kill X. It starts just like Mary Ann Warren's argument. However, they then say, a person is one who has the potential capacity to, at some point in the future, think abstractly, communicate, and reason. The majority of embryos and fetuses develop and grow to have these advanced cognitive abilities, giving them this potential capacity. Therefore, it is morally impermissible to have an abortion. A strength of the potential capacity argument is that by establishing personhood for fetuses and embryos, it also gives a serious right to life to those in a coma or even passed out. Some object to this argument via the antecedent consciousness objection, which argues that a better definition of personhood requires there to be a previous instance of higher functioning before it recurs. This antecedent consciousness objection shows a weakness in Lee and George's argument. It means if someone is demonstrating advanced cognitive ability and then passes out, that person has a serious right to life even while unconscious. Thus, fetuses are excluded from personhood because they never before have demonstrated cognitive ability. Contrastingly, on the pro-choice side of the argument, Mary Ann Warren argues by objecting the pro-life genetic argument with the alien society scenario. The pro-life genetic argument states that it is wrong to kill a human being, and a fetus is a human being, thus you cannot kill a fetus. Warren finds this problematic because what morally matters in this argument is whether the being is human. The alien society scenario depicts how this is questionable. The alien society scenario asks you to imagine being on another planet with extraterrestrials. You become hungry, and the only way to nourish yourself is to kill and eat an innocent extraterrestrial. These beings do not have a human genetic code, So according to the pro-life genetic argument, there is no restriction against this act. Warren objects the validity of this genetic argument. If the genetic argument given in the scenario is true, then the wrongness of killing must solely be based on one's DNA. An extraterrestrial or any other being may have the ability to reason and communicate even if their DNA isn't human, so the wrongness of killing is not based on DNA. Therefore, the pro-life genetic argument is invalid. Secondly, we are brought back to her personhood argument previously stated. If you recall, Warren assigns personhood to any being that can reason, communicate with language, and think abstractly. Fetuses lack this ability, so they are not given a right to life. Now, a strength of this personhood argument is that it gives freedoms and rights to the mother, allowing her to have an abortion at any stage of pregnancy for reasons as serious as being raped or as trivial as wanting to go on a roller coaster at an amusement park. In a survey taken in 2019 of 480 women, 43% of them, or nearly half of those women, voted that they wanted this choice. So this argument is not a minority. However, a weakness of this argument is given in the infanticide objection, which proposes a weakness in this argument. Like a fetus, an infant lacks the immediate capacity for higher functioning. According to Warren's theory, this makes it permissible to kill an infant. Many hold the intuitive opinion that it is simply wrong to kill an infant, so this weakens Warren's personhood argument. Now, just like all of us voters in America, it is time for you to decide where you stand. Do you agree with Lee and George that a fetus's potential to develop into a functional, rational human being bestows it a serious right to life? Or do you side with Mary Ann Warren in valuing a mother's right to choose which path she wants her life to follow upon conceiving? The choice is yours.